Okay. This is breaking the chains, behind the scene live collaboration. I feel like I'm going to hear Jim's soul die every time I play this intro music. This is the show where Jim Lujan and Cory Kerr collaborate live. Lingering note.
Can I ask for one thing on that?
Sure.
Well, two things. One, you might a little bit of reverb on your voice, and then two, sound effects. That's all it needs, really. Other than that, it's perfect. Just throw some sound effects on that.
I've been doing sound effects all day today. Actually, not all day.
There you go. We're set. Yeah. Other than that, it's perfect.
All right. Cool. Okay, so let's do it. Let me share my screen here.
Well, let's introduce for those of you watching for the first time, let's tell them what this is, what the show is.
This is a cartoon about a horror show.
This what you're watching right now is Cory and I. We're collaborating on a project that is related to a cartoon I did called Unchained Fists. We're doing a short, and we're actually showing our process live as we go about things. So basically, Cory's animating a lot of my artwork in After Effects, and it's just really amazing. So, why don't you tell people what they're looking at right here, Cory?
Okay, so let me show you. I showed you a video of this, but I haven't showed you how it works. So this is basically the Photoshop file that you gave me.
Yeah.
And I told you to do teeth and tongue separate. And so what I did is I took that and I wrapped that. Let me see if I can find this. Yeah, there we go. Hold on. Way too many layers here. Mouth talking. That's the one we want. So I wrapped, come back. I wrapped that in this. So that's the teeth and the tongue layer. Okay. And then I put that inside of that as a layer itself. And then it has a mask on it. And the mask has an animated path that is controlled by these controllers over here. And so if I move it up, then he kind of sneers like that or opens his mouth. If I move it to the left, he kind of has a left sneer. If I move it to the right, he has a right sneer. And if I move it down, then he's got kind of like that. And so what happens is then I can come in and you'll see that just kind of bouncing around. I don't know why it froze. It freeze. What did I just break? It like broke or something. Anyway, it kind of bounces around. Yeah, now there's all kinds of weird. Hold on, this is what is awesome about live TV. If I get rid of that one. No. Why did those all freeze? I'll just get rid of all of these. Get rid of all of them. We have a loop out. Yeah, we've got a loop out on it. All right, there we go. Okay. Oh, those are the eyelids. I just erased all the blinking. I'll come back to that. That's the eyelids. Anyway, what I wanted was this. That's what I want. There we go. Okay. Oh, and then it stops. I know why it stops because I have a loop out on it. There we go. Get rid of this keyframe, and then it'll loop out again. So anyway, so I have these keyframes, and these keyframes, they just jump mouth positions. And I just kind of move them around, and then I just looped it. So I have a little loop out expression that just continues to play through these keyframes. And so he just continues to talk until I tell him to stop. But the fun part about it is I have the mask on his mouth, and then I added a stroke to that. And so I can come in here. Let's find the mouth. So I can come in here on layer styles just to show you the stroke. Let's just make it like something hideous, like purple. And then we'll make it gigantic. So that stroke will follow the outer shape of his mouth no matter what.
Wow.
And so all I did was just make it make it black, and try to match the same weight of the rest of the line work. So it just kind of like cheats an animated mouth.
Oh my God. When I was creating the art per your instructions, I was like, I know this is going somewhere. I know this is going to look good, but it was so foreign to me. Yeah, well, but now seeing it, it's incredible.
I had you do like the jaw. So here's the jaw layer. So I had you do this jaw just by itself.
It's like all those different layers. I'm like, Cory, do you want me to draw his spine too while I'm at it?
I'd like each individual vertebrae on a separate layer, please.
Wow. But when you look at it, it makes so much sense and it looks so good.
Yeah. So let me tell you how the jaw works. So the jaw has a puppet position on it. So let me find mesh 1 and deform. And so I have all these different, those yellow marks are all different puppets that deform the face. And so I put 2 on his chin, and then 1 at the bottom of his kind of jowl area, and then I pinned the rest. So I've got like 1 pin at his nose so that it never moves above his nose, but then on the corners of his mouth, I put pins so that when he sneers up or down on either side, I can pull his mustache up. And then pin positions at his ears so that his jaw is always attached to his ears. So basically some of these, like this one, and this one, and this one, the intention is that those 3 never move so that it doesn't distort too much. But then the rest of them, as it goes through, you can see that they kind of move around so that when he opens his mouth, his jaw also drops to kind of show the mouth opening.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so you can see.
That's ridiculous.
And it's not as complicated as it looks, but there are 12 pins on that jaw layer. So that's why I had you do this. The lesson here for everyone is when Cory Kerr asks you to do something that doesn't make any sense.
Don't say why.
You just do it.
You just do it. Don't ask why. Wow.
No, you can ask why, but it'll just it's easier. It's easier if I'm just like, can I show you after I'm done?
It's like, Cory, why do you want my bank pin?
Don't ask why. I just want your mother's maiden name, and So that's one control right here, right? So I have all these different controls. I also have the head turn control, and I'm excited about this one. So the head turn control, which is here. Let me get my thing out. It controls this, so I can move him to the left, and he'll turn left, and I can move him to the right. Let me just do that. I'll just have him turn left, right, up, down. So let me give myself a new position here, and let's go 200, 0, and we'll have him turn negative 200, 0. We'll have him turn up. So we go 0, 200. Then 0, negative 200. Okay, so those are the 4 extremes. So let me just render that really quick and have this look back and forth. So he looks left, he looks right, he looks up, and he looks down. And so what's happening there is I had you do a couple. Actually, I did a couple things on my own. I told you I didn't want to cut up your artwork, but I ended up doing it anyway.
That's okay.
What I ended up doing is the ears are separate layers, the bill of the hat, and this part of the hair and that part of the hat, those are separate layers. And then I cut up the face too. So let me show you.
How dare you?
I know. So here's like, there's just like an edge like that. So that moves back and forth. And then the eyelids and the eyebrows. And let's see, the face is just like cut that out so that it can move back and forth. But basically, if you don't turn into a complete profile, and you just move a little bit back and forth like this or up and down like that, it's really just your eyes, nose, and your mouth kind of shifting to the left or the right or up or down, And your head shape kind of stays the same shape until you break that into a 3/4 or something. And so if you don't go too far, you can like fake a more animated thing. It's really just a puppet, right? So you did a puppet. And so then when he goes like this, you can see his mouth. The one part where this breaks, this is where people can. You see, like he turns his head and his ears go behind his head. He turns his head and then they reappear.
Yeah. Oh, I see now why you did that, and the hat too.
And the hat, right? And so I'm doing it really extreme right here. I would never take it to the extremes because it starts to break a little bit. But that was just to kind of show like up down, right? So if you just move it just a little bit, you get this little bit of parallax because like my nose is closer to the camera than my ears are. And so, when I go like this or like this, my nose is going to move further than my ears because it's closer.
It's like your 2D, 3D animation.
Yeah. So 2.5D is what they call that. So anyway, so I did that. Let's see some other things. I think that's the main.
It's a very nice still too. It's very pretty. It's flattering.
I think that's really the main thing with him. But the cool part about this is I can now go in and all of these control different things. So like these are his eyes. So I can have him look left, right, up, down. This is his right eyebrow. So it goes up and down.
Oh,
like
wow.
this.
That's so cool.
And so I can be really surprised, or I can have him be really angry or sad.
I love it.
Anyway, so I can do all this without having to like dig into individual layers. So I just have this little control pack over here.
And is that the plugin?
So that's joysticks and sliders. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's this plugin. It's $45 from AE Scripts. It's worth its weight in gold, man.
So you just select something. So in theory, if you had this face and there was only 2 layers, the entire face and one eyebrow was a different layer.
Yeah. You
could select that eyebrow and flip that eyebrow around. It's kind of like you controlling it, whatever is tied in with that.
Yeah. So joysticks and sliders is anything that can be keyframed can be tied to one of these joysticks. And you just give it 5 positions. So you give it what's the base where it's 0, 0, and then it's a 400 pixel box. And so what is it when it's all the way to 200 pixels? What is it when it's all the way to negative 200 pixels?
Can you show me the extreme on the eyebrow?
Yeah. So here's his right eyebrow, and here it is all the way up, and then here it is all the way down. So up and down doesn't do much, but then because I gotta fix that. But then you go, here's the extreme there, and then here's the extreme there.
Oh, cool. Yeah. What are the ones on the bottom do? The sliders?
So this one is his mouth.
Okay.
And this one is his head turn.
Here's a silly question. Can you name those boxes? I mean, can you name the joysticks? Yeah,
you can.
Okay. So you could put mouth, eye, whatever, if you wanted to.
Yeah, they're named over here.
Where's that? I see. I see.
And so I have little controls. If I hide these, that's a little bit better. So here's head turn, jock eyes, jock brow right, jock brow left, and jock brow mouth. Oh, and then head turns the top one. So anyway, so then I take that's in a composition, and I put that here, and I gave it a little bit of wiggle on the rotation, which just is a random number generator. And so then he just kind of bobbles his head back and forth. But I could put a control on that, and I could make him go up and down. I could make him go back and forth, but I can control the talking on the other composition.
That's amazing. Cory, I had a question. I was just wondering, do you prefer to animate lip sync on the 1s or 2s or other?
Chris Webb is asking.
Oh, that's a coincidence.
Chris, you're asking a very technical question to a guy who taught himself how to do this 18 months ago.
I can answer that because we don't really animate on the 1s and 2s when you're doing it in this method, right?
I think when I do it, I try to do it on the 2s, but it's kind of just whatever feels right. So, because I have done a little bit of traditional animation, but like literally just started doing that like last week. So I'm really just getting started on that. And that is just, I'm just using Photoshop and a new plugin that I got called, I forgot what it is. It's not Overlord, Time Lord, which just like takes Photoshop and ports it into After Effects.
Wow. So, well, doesn't that, oh, you mean you create things in Photoshop and it's automatically in After Effects?
Yeah. So it, basically what it does is it does it exports a PNG image sequence and then imports that image sequence as a composition into After Effects. And so from there you can edit it, or you can replace the images in that sequence and it'll update them. But basically it means that if I wanted to hand draw part of this, I could do that in Photoshop and then bring it in, and it would be a composition that I could put into this scene or whatever.
Wow. So now would be a good time, Cory, to make our major announcement that we decided on the last, right after the last episode. You don't even know what it is, probably.
Can't remember what it is.
But we had a phone conversation, a brief one, and we decided, you know what? Well, I decided I'm going to draw everything with the thought of it being a puppet. We're going to use puppets for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think and when I saw what you're doing with this guy, it just makes sense to have. So I'll end up getting you for the main characters is a front, side, and back shot.
Yeah.
Maybe a 3/4 view, if that helps.
Sure. Because I can have them turn.
Yeah, and I'll keep all the arms separate. I mean, all of the. Do you want to do the chopping, or do you want me to have them pre-cut?
I would rather you do the chopping, but I did want to talk to you about that.
Okay, yeah, let's talk. Yeah, give me some chopping tips.
Yeah, so when you gave me this at first, the arms were part of the tank top.
Totally, yeah, they were. I just sent over like 5 different drawings of the body.
Right.
Not detached or anything.
Right, but the problem with that is I can't rotate them. Whereas, so what I did is I cut them up a little bit. Let me just where I had it.
Yeah, because the original thought was the animation was going to be done in, like, the drawings were going to be the movement, you know. But
right.
I like the puppet idea,
which takes forever. Personally,
you know what, it does. But I really like the look, the way it looks with the, and plus I'm all about trying new things in this whole mad experiment that we're doing.
Okay, so here's something to consider, right? If I move this is an anchor point. You probably know all this already, but this is an anchor point, and I can move this, and wherever this is, this layer will rotate on that point. Right,
and you can't really move that because the way the arms bent. I think I'm gonna have to send you.
Okay, but if I do that, I can come in, and now I can have him kind of go up and down here. So I'm just
which is good.
I'll just put a wiggle expression on that. I don't have the way he's designed. I don't have a ton of. Where's my AE buttons? Wiggle. And let's do 2 times a second. Let's rotate 10 degrees. Okay, so now he'll have a little bit of arm movement. So you can see he just kind of moves a little bit. You know, and I can increase that to whatever, like maybe 25 degrees won't be too much. But at a certain point that it breaks.
Yeah.
But I can get a little bit of gesture in there, if you give me those. But I like that we have all these different arms.
Yeah,
because I can still flip through these. I'm breaking my puppet.
Cory, I can send you some arms too, just by themselves tonight, if you want to, just to have them, like spare arms, maybe arms with fists, arms with for an arm like a hand like this.
Yeah, we have that a little bit already. But one thing I would suggest is like this one, right? To me, I would do this in 3 layers. Because that way I can do a little bit of hand rotation.
Yeah.
So I can put a pin right here on the I put a pin right here on the forearm, and then he could kind of like, where's the camera? He could kind of like gesture a little bit instead of just being fixed and just the whole thing kind of rotating.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so, like this one makes sense as 2 layers, but if you were to give me like, let me just.
So when I'm sending you the layers, am I also doing for overcompensation for the coloring so that the breaks don't show, or how does that work?
Yeah, so like this one, if I were to do this, let's just do one of these arms. I'll show you what I do here. So what I would do is duplicate this, and then on one of them, let's just hide the other one, just cut this out. And my ancient Cintiq has stopped working, so I'm going to do it with my mouse. So it's going to look horrible. Okay, and then I'll just kind of color this out like this. But the cool part about this is like the skin color, and like Hanna-Barbera did this all the time. The skin color is the same. And so when I put this back underneath here, and I can just erase this part like that. I might need to go plug in my Cintiq again. It's old enough to where like every couple of days I have to like unplug it and plug it back in, and then it starts working, and it works for another 48 hours. I got it used on eBay years ago. So now I have these two, right? And then I would just come in and I would just like paint. I just paint this to be all that skin tone color.
Mm-hmm.
And then you won't even see the seam.
Mm-hmm.
Like that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then this guy can rotate. If I can. Did all my layer controls go away? I don't know where that is now. Anyway, that's because I'm stupid and I'm using the wrong thing. Where's the rotate tool? I want to rotate the screen. I want to rotate the whatever. Anyway, you can rotate like this, but it could pivot down this way or down here or whatever. So you'd probably still want a black line along the top.
Right, yeah. For some reason, this is really familiar to me, and I think maybe I incorporated it, but not in puppet rigging, but in, you know what it is? It's I've gone in through my different poses and manually selected things and then moved it, and, to make a new drawing. But I didn't use it as puppets. You know what I mean? I didn't in between it. I just would be like, it was a way of cheating and saving drawings, kind of. So it is. Yeah. It's pretty familiar. I think I love the idea, and we just do a puppet like a couple times, and we can reuse them.
Yeah, I mean, once these guys are all set up, I mean, that's the nice thing for the people that have been watching for a while. Once this guy's set up in the front, we don't have to redraw him or redo anything, and I'll have all the controls. So the hand switching, I think, is going to be good, but I've got to figure out a way to do a switch template with that. So what it does is I'll have a controller that basically rotates through the different layers of hands.
Mm-hmm.
And so instead of moving it, you move the controller and it'll go like hand 1, 2, 3, 4, all in a quick succession. So it kind of animates it that way.
Yeah.
It's a stupid way of explaining it, but anyway, those I think will work for the ones that are down here, because they're all fairly similar to each other. So
yeah, I'll give you. It's just like my instinct wants to just draw you a bunch of arms so that are cut up already, and then you just use them for however you want.
So you could, but I mean, what I would do is like not make anything that the story doesn't call for. So I mean, it kind of. We don't know what this guy is saying yet because you haven't.
So don't do this if he's not going to do this.
Right. So I mean, we may have enough right now to do it. I'm almost of the mind of like having you work on the other characters in the shot, like his kind of people that are flanking him.
Yeah.
Rather than do more with him, because I think we probably have enough with him.
Yeah, I totally get it, and I'm trying to think. So if the other guys are going to talk. Are we going to do the jaw thing with those guys too, or are we going to do multiple? Because I kind of wanted to mix it up. I wanted maybe some of the characters we just do.
I liked this guy with the flappy mouth talking thing,
Yeah.
because I just imagine him like slobbering and, you know, unintentionally talking so loud that he's got like spittle and stuff, and so having his lips kind of flap around. But then the other way that it's pretty simple to do is you know, is just have a couple mouth shapes, and I can just switch back and forth.
Yeah.
Kind of like you do, but I'll just rig it to a controller where it just, you know, we'll have the A, E, O, and close on, and
maybe the henchmen, maybe they don't, because I think in a weird way it'll be kind of neat if the main baddie has his mouth all fancy and everything, and then the other guys are just. I mean, the audience won't really.
Right.
It's not going to be something that jumps out at them. Wait, their mouths are moving different. It'll be just be more that this guy's extra, like it's something cool. And then Wayne too, the main character, Unchained Wayne. I'm wondering how his mouth should move because he has less of an exaggerated. He's probably more.
I would like one of two options for him. Either almost no movement at all, like he's kind of like a really minimalist. Maybe even just a black shape that I can just kind of like bounce around a little bit. Yeah. Or you give me all the phonemes, is what they call them, all the mouth shapes to rig him up to Adobe Character Animator.
Okay. Hey, when I'm doing the mouth shapes, there's another question. I know the teeth I'll color white unless they're yellow. But if it's just a line, or if it's am I not? I don't color any flesh around it, right? Because it's going to be on top of a blank palette for the most part, right?
So it depends on how we do it. But what I did before was kind of what you were talking about earlier with the arms. Is I drew the face, and then I made a copy of the jaw, basically the nose down. And I changed whatever I wanted about that. So I just make a copy, and I'd be like, what would the jaw and the cheeks and the mouth do for the letter E? And then I would just tweak it just a little bit, because that way you get a little bit of chin and jaw movement. You know, when I do this, my cheeks kind of suck in.
How about this? How about this? Does this work? So let's say for Wayne, when I send you, I mean, I'm going to have his eyebrows and his eyeballs, all those on different layers, because I love that works so great. But for his jaw, what I'll do is I'll detach his jaw so it can move, but we'll just have mouth movements. So it won't be a specific one for O and his mouth moves this way, or unless you're just suddenly so charged with energy and time that you want to go in and surprise me. But I'd be happy if his mouth just moved in the phonetic shapes and his jaw just went like that. This guy is a different case. This guy is like a super experiment in character, because it just brings this guy's character so much to life. It's insane.
And the kind of, are we giving away the joke at the end in this live action?
We'll save that joke. We'll say that'll be one thing with it. Like this is one thing we kind of talked about behind the scenes, ladies and gentlemen. We said that we're not going to spend too much time talking about the script or the dialogue. I mean, you'll see some of the scenes, but we're going to keep some of it.
I will say this: manipulating his face as if it's a lot floppier and more fluid feeds into the character design of the gag at the end.
Yeah,
So
totally.
if Unchained Wayne is more rigid and solid and doesn't jiggle as much, I think it'll subconsciously kind of.
So I like Chris. Chris, you just hit the nail on the head. He says, consider this: whoever has the most dramatic speeches should be more fully animated.
Yeah.
And I say yes, I agree with you. Unchained Wayne, his demeanor is more Clint Eastwood-ish, or
move a lot,
like Logan from like Wolverine. He's more like, I'm saying, like the Fonz. He's more saying cool. He's not like, I'm gonna get you. He's more like go ahead, make my day. Right. And if you know the character Unchained Wayne, it's ridiculous because he's the size of Barney Fife. He's a little wiry guy that's just with a mullet. That's just a really good street fighter and not afraid of anything.
Yeah, so I agree. So his face doesn't move much, and we just we'll have just a little small black shape for his mouth.
Yeah, well, the same thing with the girls, because kind of we don't need to as much. They're just
Do they talk much?
Yes, but it's not a monologue. It's more reactionary to this guy. Like, okay, like whatever. Okay, you can go away now. That type of stuff.
One trick that we could do that I almost don't want to say live because people will know we're doing it. When they're talking, we can cut away from like we'll show them say a couple words.
Yeah.
For the reaction for the rest of the sentence. And then
I mean that'll work too. I think if we do, I think those phonetic mouths, I think will get us a lot of mileage.
I mean, you could do one female rigged set of lips, and then we can just change the lipstick or whatever.
That's exactly what yeah.
That
so good.
So we could do that. So if you want to,
it's all about being lazy.
Yes,
and smart.
Yeah, I was at a seminar one time with the guys from Nickelodeon and some guys from Adult Swim, and they all agreed that animation is reuse. So,
yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, since they're kind of minor characters, we could just use the same mouth shape, and that would just.
They're not minors. They're all over 18. I want to get that straight.
Okay.
They are miners. They work in a coal mine, so that's funny that you said that. I don't.
Right. Yeah. It's they clean up really well for coal miners.
The black lung.
Yeah. So anyway, we could do that. Yeah. That's basically it. I've got to re-rig his eyebrows because they should be able to go up and down.
The frame that he looks very special on the frame that he's very, very.
Here, I'll.
You want to help the guy.
Again. There we go.
That's hilarious. We're calling this guy Jock Bro.
This is Jock Bro. Yeah. So I mean, the other thing is we do have some shots with this guy from the side. So if you wanted to do, you know what would save a lot of time. Do one arm from the elbow to the shoulder and one forearm, and then as many hands as you want. And I'll just rig that up.
Right.
Don't even do a right and a left arm. Just give me one.
Oh, I'm gonna make a note because I'm gonna do this tonight.
Yeah, just give me one, and then give me as many different hands as you want, so that I can just flip through hands. So that basically, I'm just gonna have him from the profile like gesturing a bunch, and I'll rotate through a bunch of hands, which will make it look more animated than it is, because I'll just be rotating.
So I'm sending you. Am I basically just sending you an arm from here to here, and then the forearm, and then a bunch of hands?
Yeah.
Okay, because what I could do is I could also do, and it might be just as easy, is the bicep, shoulder to the elbow, and then send you a forearm with different hands. It's not that, because all I do is when I go in, I just erase the hand and redraw it. It's attached to the forearm still, unless you think it's beneficial to have it completely.
That would work.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe I do that. And I'll do that for Wayne too.
You don't have like a watch that appears and disappears or whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But if you did have a watch on, that would make it even easier if you had a watch or a bracelet.
Yeah, because you could do a break right there.
Then you don't know what happens to my skin underneath the cuff of my sleeve.
No one knows, Cory.
No one knows. It's a mystery. It's actually been discussed at length by deep state. But yeah, so if you gave him a watch or something, then he could do that. Or I don't know, is he the type of guy to be wearing like
No, I purposely didn't draw any watches or wristbands on this guy because if we flip them or do something like that. However, and Bill Plimpton will testify to this, I am very adept at drawing tattoos on people that people go, God dang it, we have to draw a tattoo now every day. So, but the benefit of this is we can reuse that arm,
Right.
So I might add a tattoo. I don't know. I might just go with a simple approach on this one, because there's going to be so much going on in this cartoon in the backgrounds and stuff like that.
Yeah, It depends on what you want to focus on. You know, what I mean?
Corey, one of the things I wanted to ask you tonight before we forget is too, it's talking about backgrounds a little bit in this bar. Yeah. Some of the tricks. I was watching a movie and I was noticing the bar scene in the movie. There's a lot we can do with blurs, but there's a lot we can do with like lights, like that you can't really tell what they are in the background.
Yeah.
You know, I know we can reuse a lot of backgrounds and a lot of the neon lights and stuff like that. Yeah, staging has become really a big factor in this too. I did a little layout of what kind of how I see the bar based on kind of what you came up with too. You know, the tables are here, the doors over here, there's restrooms over here, there's a little dance stage. It's amazing though, and I've always felt this, it's amazing when you actually have to draw the background to see like when there's empty space, there's nothing happening on a wall. It feels like a million miles wide. Right. Like, oh my God, there should be something there. But then you don't want it to look like a 14-year-old's bedroom, you know, whatever, the whole wall's filled with posters and, you know, it's crazy. It's real. That's where real life and design, it gets tricky. Yeah. You know, because in real life, you can have a wall with nothing on it and it's a wall. Right. But when you're animating, it looks like empty. It looks, no matter what you do to it, it's weird. It's a delicate balance, I find. Yeah.
So you have this wall back here so far. And then you sent me another wall. I haven't rigged it up, but I think if I change the position of the bottles on this table, I don't think you'd need to give me a new table thing. So we'd use the same table, same bottles, the same napkins, and I would just move the position of them and then use a different background. But I mean, if you look at the lighting that I've done, you can barely even see the background. Yeah, that's what I like that. And in the new background shots that I sent you, if you'll notice, the tables are all empty. There's nothing on them because I know you can reuse the bottles and napkins and stuff like that. That's really cool. I love that, by the way. Yeah. So I'm really excited about this. This is going to be great. This project is definitely load up on the front end and then coast through most of it. And then when whatever fighting comes out in it, I'll just customize at the time, and it's not going to be that big. Like I said, if I give you a front side view and a 3/4, I think we'll be okay. It's going to be very interesting. Have you done a fight scene before? No. It won't be much of a fight scene. There's not going to be a lot of block shots and, you know, and back and forth. It's going to be kind of one-sided, but it'll be interesting to see. And I'll do some crowd reactions and stuff like that. Hey, I know you don't want a super, you know, whatever. Cartoony. Or anything. But one thing that I want you to consider is if the dude gets hit in the gut, I think it would be really funny to like slow everything down and show like fat ripples. Yeah. Oh, that stuff like that. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. The stuff that I was always avoiding is more like that he punches the guy and the guy flies through the windshield and his head goes through the steering wheel and the steering wheel goes, and he sees birds, you know. No, that's realistic. Like the fat ripples, I love that. Are you kidding me? That's genius. It's in the movie. Count that in the movie. Okay. It's in. Yeah. You're gonna have to draw it. So that's oh, I have to draw the fat. There's not an app for the fat ripples? We could use a liquefy. Isn't there there's an app called Lard? Well, it did the job. Honestly, we probably could use like a ripple CC effect, but I don't know if it would look as funny because I'm thinking like Ren and Stimpy close up. Ripple. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah. No, I could picture it. I could picture the fist going and then you know. Frank's excited that the Fat Ripples are in. So. Fat Ripples are in. Fat Ripples, great band from the 70s, by the way. Yeah, they're a little, you know, little avant-garde. Yeah. Salazar Art Nation says that app is called that does the ripples is called iLard. Right. Yeah. Yes. Check it out. I didn't realize this entire time I've been rendering. So
nice.
if my computer is stuttering or anything, yeah. But.
So it's coming along. It's coming along, folks. This is a big learning experience. This is also a way for me to learn After Effects, but it's kind of like me learning how to drive a car, but Cory's version of a car is actually a flying car.
It's one of those. It's one of those cars from the old Popular Mechanics magazines from the 50s, where it's also a boat and a plane.
Yes. So yeah, because I'm looking to learn and I've done After Effects before, so I'm looking to relearn it at a level 5, and Cory's at a level 500. So it's insane, but it is good. I have been pushing myself to like, okay, think like Cory, think for Cory. So, which is scary.
I just Googled amphibious car plane, and they exist.
It's very scary. So,
this is ridiculous. Hold on, just look at this for a minute. Somebody decided, you know what? I feel safe flying around in a vehicle that kind of does several things okay. Not anything really well.
I'd be excited to have a car that turns into a super powered submarine. That would be exciting.
Somehow I don't believe that this is not a Photoshop shot.
Any car could be a submarine, but it's a one-way trip. That's the only problem.
That's true. All right.
By the way, Any Car Can Be a Submarine is the worst child's book I've ever read. It's very depressing.
Oh man. Yeah. So did you have a question about backgrounds? Because you brought up backgrounds but didn't ask a question.
I got
distracted.
No, I mean not so much. I think because these backgrounds aren't going to be totally rendered non-blurry, there's going to be some give and take with the background. So that looks like an animal. Yeah, it does. So you know what? I guess what my question would be is if you had any suggestions or if there's any plugins that we can use that to add any kind of like little lights or anything in the background.
Okay, yeah. So if you want lights, you could paint that on a different layer in Photoshop or Procreate or whatever you're painting it on.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can change the opacity. So like,
look at the next thing I sent you, and we'll do this next show or whatever. But the signs I all sent you for the neon signs have a couple of different colored glows on different layers.
Oh, okay.
So you'll be able to do that. But yeah, it's weird. It's kind of like this goes back to, and this I always find this when I do bars, and I seem to do bars in every cartoon almost. But it's when you watch a bar scene on television, it's like the background, it just has a natural, like things aren't framed perfectly. You know what I mean? Sometimes you don't even see the ceiling. Sometimes you don't see. It's just, that's kind of, I think when I send you backgrounds, feel free to scale them or frame them in a way that you feel like, okay, this is giving us a sense like this is an actual. Yeah, because that's what I would do if I was in Photoshop. If this was one of my styles, I'd spend some time messing with it. So you don't have to, if I send you a perfectly rectangular background, feel free to crop it or twist it or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever you think.
Well, yeah, and I'll I've got a camera in there, so I can move the camera around. There isn't a camera movement here.
Hey, have we decided, by the way, Cory? Have we decided about the sound effects?
Oh, how we're gonna do it?
Are we gonna do the Batman style? Slam. Thud.
We do have a. There is a moment right here where the word slam shows up.
I think if we're gonna do it, we should go for it. And you have it real subtle.
I know. I personally like the more subtle thing, honestly, because I feel like the reason that they did it in Adam West's Batman is twofold. One is they were making fun of everything.
Right.
But two is they didn't want to choreograph the fight scenes that well, so they just covered the fact that nobody was touching each other.
Yeah.
With things. So I almost want to not do that, just so that the animation like still holds. Because like there's a lot of cool. I don't know. Maybe this is just me, but there's a lot of cool stuff going on right here with all the different bounces and everything, and napkins and bottles and if there was a big giant like comic book style word in the middle of it, nobody would see any of that.
I got you. Yeah.
So maybe it's just my own pride. I want
we have to keep the talent happy.
Yeah.
So if this is your brown M&Ms moment, then this is your brown M&Ms moment.
So I do think it's funny to have a little bit of, because like they did this in Into the Spider-Verse where they'd have these tiny little words.
Yes. Yeah. No, I like it. You can keep it as is.
Yeah. So that'd be my vote.
Yeah. So when the editing comes in, this is where I'll be very mindful of this, is I don't want to cut out, like, I want it to flow, but I don't want to cut out like, oh, I didn't use that shot at all. There won't be any of that. We'll use everything, but it is going to be my goal to get it to flow really well. And then all the sound effects and stuff too will really bring it to life.
Let me show you what I typically do. Is I typically do something like this, where like really the action of this scene is right here, and it lasts for about a second. So it's like between like 4.5. It's about 2 seconds. So 4.5 and like 7.5 seconds.
Yeah. But
then I render it out for like 3 or 4 seconds on either side. So you can cut it to timing however you want, because really there's not anything else going on. I mean, this is just a looping animation of that candle for like 4 seconds.
Cory, I'm watching your tutorial on After Effects.
Yeah.
And I'm on the episode where rendering out a video.
Yeah.
What type of video file does After Effects render out to?
Anything you want, but I do an MP4 is what I like.
Oh, that's what I'm using. Okay, perfect. Yeah. So, all right.
So and basically in After Effects, you just set this working area to whatever you want, and that's what it renders. So it doesn't even render the whole composition.
Cool. So that's great.
You basically select in and out points and say just render that, and you send it.
So you can, if everything was, because this used to happen a lot to me when I used to render stuff, there'd be a second of it was all grainy and messed up. If you wanted to just render the hand only and no pre or post, you could just select that little area and just render that piece.
Yeah,
that's great. That's fantastic.
Jake is volunteering to get us some bottle clinking sounds.
Yes, please, Jake. Anybody that sends us sound effects and we use them, we'll put your name in the credits. But really small, like that slam sound effect.
Right.
Really quick.
Yeah, cool. He's got. I know Jake personally, so if you need the scene or whatever, let me know. I can shoot you a quick render of it or whatever. But yeah, that would be cool.
Nice.
Because I could just layer that. So I typically layer stuff in Premiere. I'll show you what I'm doing for. Do you do it in Flash when you do the sounds, or do you do it in iMovie later?
No, I do everything in iMovie later. That's right, kids. I use iMovie because I'm advanced.
Yeah. And I only use Premiere because I get it through work.
I know.
But you see all these. So I've got like, this is a different thing, but like each one of these is a drip. So I just have that kind of lined up with the drips. Anyway.
So here's something, I think we talked about this on the air. I'm not sure. And if you watch my earlier works, any of my films or anything, I usually have pretty good sound effects. I usually have good sound and good atmosphere.
Every time Frank shows up to the chat, it's so much fun.
Ripple sounds.
Yes. Frank is volunteering fat ripple sounds.
So. Yes, but I mean, I think it's going to be pretty scary, but okay.
Sorry.
We'll try. But the sound that I didn't want to have to record was the bottles falling. Because I mean, I don't know. It just seems like that's a disaster waiting to happen. Like, how did you cut your hand open? But all the other stuff I got covered, but Yeah, if somebody has the sounds of bottles clinking, falling on a table like that.
Well,
Yeah.
and I mean, for this is for a different cartoon, but I was gonna get a metal tray full of screws
Uh-huh.
and just jostle it around. And have you watched my Foley video?
Yes, it was you were squeezing a cabbage or something. Yeah, I could say.
Right. But I mean, like, there's like a lot of, stick a couple.
But bottles falling on a table, that's that's a familiar sound to some of us, and some people know it better than others. But you know what I mean? It's a definite a sound. You have to drop a bottle on a table, and it has to a little bit of a roll, a tiny bit. Clinking glass got that covered all day. People laughing and talking in the background. I already have that, tons of that. It was specifically the bottles clinking. It's easier to find the sound of somebody throwing a rock through a window than it is to find the bottles falling on a table like that. It really is. This is an odd sound effect to look for.
What are you scared of recording it for? I'm just curious.
Well, for one, I have to get bottles, and then for two, I'd have to really have them fall on a table, fall over on a table. I could do it, but it's just, I don't know.
The funny thing to me is watching your cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
I would expect that you had a room full of empty glass bottles that you have to wade through to get to where you animate.
No, well they're full of pee. So
okay, right. That makes sense.
I don't want to knock them over.
Okay. Yeah. So we got the backgrounds. We've got the front of this guy rigged up. I'll figure out the arms. You're going to give me profile arms, one profile torso.
Yeah.
And then profile face.
What about profile? Are we using profile legs or anything, or we're waiting till the fight scenes and we might need them at that point?
I'm trying to think. I don't have the storyboard pulled up.
I think later on, when it comes to the fight, I might draw a fight pose and then cut that up. And then, yeah, we can cross that bridge. That'll be easy enough. I love that we're using puppets now. I really do. It's it's gonna cut the workload so much.
Oh yeah.
On both of our ends. On both. It's just yeah.
Yeah, it's great because once you rig these guys up, they're done.
I love Jock Bro's mouth, but I have a feeling he's going to be the only one in this story that has that level of mouth.
Oh yeah. And that's kind of what Chris was saying earlier, and that's kind of what I was thinking is, he's the over the top, loud, annoying character.
Yeah.
So he gets the over the top, loud, annoying.
When we do this, when we're done with this, and it's premiering, I'm gonna draw up a little character Bible for him. I'll tell you his real name and what school he went to. Oh, we should have a contest, a bidding war. Whoever bids the highest will make him from the school that you choose. If you hate University of Arizona or something, he'll be from University of Arizona because he's an idiot. This guy's an idiot. So unless you want, USC folks, if you don't want him to be from USC and you have UCLA, you guys got to outbid each other to make him from the other person's school.
Yeah, that'll be good. That's kind of like the when Kickstarter first came out, comic book web comic guys were like, hey, I can't remember who did it first. Might have been Bearmageddon, but it was like, hey, if you back this at a certain tier, I'll kill you in my comic.
That's good.
You'll get mauled by a bear in my comic.
Yeah, we're not collecting any money because this would be a good opportunity to draw people in the crowd and stuff like that.
Right.
But this is our first, our metamorphosis. This is our first experiment working together like this, and it's serving a lot of purposes. One of the purposes it's serving is to show me what After Effects can do, and then one of the purposes for Cory hopefully is to show him every single cheat and lazy technique to I
like how you assume that I'm not lazy.
No, you're not lazy. You are very smart at finding a shortcut to things. But your shortcuts are still involve a lot of work on the front end, and
Right.
then you just Whereas my shortcuts, I just go around the front end and sneak in the exit, and then I'm here at the finish line. So, but I'm learning. I'm learning to be a better man, Cory.
And I keep doing stupid stuff like I'm actually considering. I said this on Art Check the other day, but I'm actually considering 3D printing an environment and shooting it live at the top of it, which is stupid when it comes to like productivity.
So Cory, I'll say this one, maybe this, and then we can sign off. But today I was thinking about this. It had always been a huge goal of mine. In fact, before the Gorillas ever came out, it was a huge goal of mine to do an animated cartoon with real backgrounds.
Oh, I've done it. I love it.
Well, a lot of people have done it, because I was thinking how ironic it is that it's like the software and everything that's around now is totally custom made. Like it's fertile for that. You can do that now. And it's ironic that now I don't want to do it anymore. It's like, it kind of like went away. And that used to be like, that was my dream. I wanted to make a movie with realistic backgrounds with a character. Maybe one day, maybe I'll do that one day. But I don't know. Maybe because other people have done it so well.
Well, and now it's just a layer. Like you just put a layer down.
Yeah.
But before you're like rotoscoping a mouse dancing next to the whatever guy.
Yeah. Yeah. So never say never, but just right now it's like, I think it's because other people have done it too. That's another thing. I've seen it done so well so many times.
Yeah.
But I wish there'd be a Gorillas movie.
They're ramping up though for something with their.
Well, there was supposed to be a movie years ago, and then they never made it. And Steven Spielberg was like supposed to produce it or something like that.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I heard. And this is we're talking 12 years ago.
Did he back out once he realized how dirty the gorillas are?
Probably. He's like, wait a minute, they're not real gorillas?
This isn't E.T.
Wait a minute.
I thought it was going to do an animated version of Into the Mist.
Wait a minute, they're not Tintin?
Okay. Right. So you've got profile arms. I'll put together. I'll rig up. I'll rig up this shot that we're looking at right now, with the table and the background that you sent me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I will need the backs of those girls' heads, and the front shot of the two flanking wingmen crony guys.
Yeah. So it's kind of like those girls are going to be like at maybe 3/4. But yeah, I know what you mean. So you could see. Yeah, that's going to look so good. I can't wait till you blur it or whatever. It's going to be great.
I'll do a just to really do it over the top. I'll do a roll focus from their head and like roll focus to him.
Yeah, if we can come out from the follicles of their hair.
Yeah, there you go.
And then the camera goes around.
We'll do one of those shots where the camera goes into their eye and travels down their optic nerve, and it starts to get all abstract.
So Jacob says slingshot, slow prep, fast production.
Yeah.
I don't know what the slingshot is, but
you spend all the time pulling it back, and then when you let it go, it goes really quickly.
Oh, I like it. I like that. That's good stuff. I agree. Cool. So, and the other thing I have to say too is, and this is just my nature, the grass is always greener. Every time this road gets difficult, I start thinking, man, I can't wait to go back and make one of my easy cartoons. But don't worry, I'm not abandoning ship. We have a good track record of finishing stuff, and we're going to continue that. So,
and it's been pretty fast so far. Other than doing it in the middle of Christmas.
That's true. Yeah, I blame the pandemic too.
Yeah, that doesn't help. Okay, so side shot with a bunch of different forearm hands, and then I'll rig those up, and I'll get the scene in the background. You're gonna give me the girls back their heads. I'm trying to think of another shot.
I say you're a bunch of background people too already.
Yeah, I already have a bunch of those.
And I had been if you look at the latest thing I sent you, I keep extending this. I know I'm the one that goes, Cory, we're going to do it for 30 minutes tonight, okay? And here I am. So the background characters that I sent you, I put shading on them, and I put lights, like you did with the bottles. I put reflect. I put the opacity. I adjusted the opacity on the lights. Do you like that when I send them prepped like that, or do you want? Okay,
as long
good.
As if it's a separate layer.
Yes, totally. So then I can I get the shot looking the way I kind of want it, but just have things on different layers.
Right. And the nice thing about that is when I bring it into Photoshop, or from Photoshop to After Effects, Photoshop and After Effects talk really well together. And so it'll maintain the transparency and all that stuff as it brings it into layers. So it just brings all that in for me, which is nice.
I was very happy. And even though he chopped up the guy's face even further, I was kind of glad that it worked for you, what I sent you. Because that was really a strange scenario, but I got it. Like, that was the first lesson that I learned. And I'm like, okay, I trusted Cory and it worked. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I didn't go the opposite. I did a bunch of work and it sucked.
Yeah. So, all right. And one day, Cory, too, thank you on behalf of a lot of fans out there. Thank you for doing thank you for doing the After Effects tutorials.
Oh, yeah.
I was watching them. I shouldn't tell you this, but I was watching them and I felt like I should pay for these. Like, I feel like I'm getting away with something. Like that's really valuable knowledge, So I intend to use After Effects one day. Probably, and I'm gonna upgrade my laptop in the near future, hopefully, and then I'll jump into After Effects. By the way, I was telling Cory this. I have done 2 After Effects cartoons before. So if you go back and look at my catalog on jimlujan.com, which is my YouTube page, if you look at No Shoes, No Shirt, No Service, that's a cartoon I did. That was all in After Effects. And then there's one called Come to Daddy, and that was in After Effects as well. So, but it's cheapo version. I mean, I didn't do any fancy stuff, but way back then, I think I did those cartoons in 1971. Way back then, I was saying, "Oh, After Effects is the future. I need to get into it," and I just never did until now. Now, especially doing this is making me like, okay, it works really well with my style. So I like it.
And I mean, it's way too much for what a lot of people are doing, but it doesn't have to be. Like, you don't have to do all the stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't use 70% of the program. So I just use the good stuff. But yeah, if anybody's interested in that, it's AI to AE is the thing. So it's if you understand Photoshop or Illustrator, I basically just talk about it from there.
Yeah. I don't use Illustrator, but I use Photoshop. And I was just going to say that you don't have to know Illustrator really, because it's the information that you give is kind of universal to either of those.
Yeah, and it's basically like, the reason I made that playlist is because when I was trying to learn After Effects, I was coming at it from a design and illustration standpoint, and every tutorial that I found anywhere was somebody saying, okay, so how in Maya, or how in Final Cut Pro, or how in Premiere. And I'm like, I don't really know Premiere that well. I know how to do the 2 types of cuts that I like and to move stuff around. That's all I need to know in Premiere. And so there wasn't anything out there that was like, okay, in Photoshop, like, this is what that is. And so I took it from that. I actually think it's pretty unique. I submitted it to Adobe Max because I went to 3 years in a row of Adobe Max, and half the workshops that they do are amazing, and half of them are like completely pointless and stupid. And I was like, I've never seen anybody do something like this.
Yeah. And you're wearing a tie.
What's that?
You're wearing a tie.
Yeah, it's because what I ended up doing is these are actually I don't think I'll get in trouble for this, but these are the resources that I created for a class that I teach at college. And so,
Oh wow,
but I don't want to make money off of them or anything. So
they're
I don't.
super helpful. Like I said, Cory, when I look at these, I'm like, these are like Cory's probably hypnotizing us, and we don't realize it because there's nobody that gives this valuable information away for free. Yeah.
Well, if you just don't slow it down or play it backwards, and then it'll be fun. And if at the end of it you have an incredible urge to jump onto my Patreon or whatever, I don't think I'm doing a Patreon, but just that's normal. That's a normal feeling to want to give me money after watching stuff. So it's not.
Like I should Salazar Art Nation that when he said that. Well, you know, in MS Paint, I feel like I should have a New York accent when I say that. You know, in MS Paint, you know how you do that.
Oh man. So yeah. So anyway,
yeah, we kept it to half an hour. Perfect. Exactly.
Yeah. Just did two episodes and 2.2 episodes.
We decided last episode we can't do this in half an hour. It's ridiculous.
That's fun. Yeah, that's right. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna rig this stuff up. I'll keep an eye out for when you hit me with that, and then I'll get those guys rigged up.
I think the next time we do a show, I think we'll probably have a little bit of footage or just experimental footage too, probably at that time. Think so?
Yeah. I mean, I already have this shot.
Yeah, I love it.
This shot's done. And I mean, other than the problem is we don't have dialogue. Sorry, I got something in my throat. We don't have dialogue, so I'll just have to re-render everything. So the mouth just won't sync up with anything. But I'll render it out to show. You know, I don't know what the animation equivalent of dailies is, but we'll do some dailies. So
yeah. Beautiful. Well, I love it.
Cool. Okay, if you want to check out Jim's stuff, go to jimlujan.com. And I used to have a button that would pull that up on the screen. There it is. And that'll show you all the things. And go watch Unchained Wayne, which is the character we're doing. And if you want to look at my stuff, go to corykerr.com. And if you go to corykerr.com/online, there'll be links to different things.
Go watch those After Effects tutorials because they will change your life for free.
And if you want to watch those After Effects tutorials, they're at corykerr.com/videos. You'll see a bunch of those out there. So if you want to learn to do this, I learned about 80% of what I know in 100 days. So I just spent an hour to 3 hours a day for 100 days straight. And then I went from knowing nothing to making things move.
It's really kind of cool. I've realized this about you and I is that I think we're both legally insane.
Yep.
I think so. But neither of us, neither of us look at the other guy like they're crazy, but I think we both are.
I have a new patch that I think sums it up pretty well. Play stupid games and win stupid prizes. So I play stupid games, and the prizes I get are, hey, look, I can bend this worm with a puppet pin.
I got a new hat with a D on it. You know what it stands for? Duh.
All right. It is late, and we did have people showing up. We weren't sure if anybody was going to show up. But
Salazar Art Nation says that our dailies should be called nightlies. I like it. I'm
in. Sounds good to me. So we're going to slingshot the production, and I will render some nightlies, and then those are the only things I remember. Okay, we'll catch you later.
Freeze on a cute pose.
See you whenever we go live again. Did I press the button? I didn't press the button. Hold on. Okay, do it again.